Alright, in this video, we are to solve for the derivatives of an algebraic expression or algebraic functions using its definition. So this is also known as finding the derivatives of algebraic functions using increment method. So from the definition that we had last time, the first derivative of y with respect to x is limit as delta x approaches 0 of f of x plus delta x minus f of x all over delta x. And then we can also associate that with the slope of the tangent line at the point of tangency. So let us try to illustrate by giving examples. So I have here, given the function f of x is equal to 5, find its first derivative. So ang babalikan lang natin is our definition. So again, our definition is limit of f of x plus delta x minus f of x all over delta x as delta x approaches 0. So notice that if we substitute x plus delta x on our function, f of x plus delta x is also equal to 5. So substituting it to our definition, that's our first derivative of y with respect to x, which is actually our f prime of x, is equal to limit as delta x approaches 0 of the quantity 5 minus 5 all over delta x, because f of x plus delta x is 5, substituting, that's 5. Substituting f of x, which is also 5, gives us limit as delta x approaches 0 of 0 over delta x. Then again, 0 over delta x is 0. So thus we have limit delta x approaches 0 of a constant, as a variable approaches any constant is always a constant. So therefore, our first derivative of y with respect to x is actually 0. So that is the answer there. So again, you just have to plug it in sa ating definition and then you will get the first derivative. Suppose I have f of x, for example, number 2 is equal to 3x minus 2. So again, by definition, y prime, which is the first derivative dy with respect to x, is our f prime of x, is limit as delta x approaches 0 of f of x plus delta x minus f of x all over delta x. Since f of x is equal to 3x minus 2, then f of x plus delta x, which is being required by our formula, is equal to 3 times x plus delta x minus 2. Then f of x plus delta x is equal to 3x plus 3 delta x minus 2. Substituting to our definition, we will have f prime of x is equal to limit as delta x approaches 0 of f of x plus delta x, which is 3x plus 3 delta x minus 2, minus your f of x, which is 3x minus 2, all over delta x. Simplifying by distributing that negative sign, we have 3x plus 3 delta x minus 2 minus 3x plus 2, because this negative ay i-distribute natin inside the parenthesis, all over delta x. So, kapag kinombine natin ang like terms, 3x cancels out with 3x because 3x minus 3x is 0 and negative 2 divided by positive 2 is 0. So, we will have limit as delta x approaches 0, limit as delta x approaches 0 of 3 delta x over delta x, that delta x cancels out, then limit of a constant as a variable approaches any number is always a constant. So therefore, our first derivative of that function with respect to x is equal to 3. So that's example number 2. So let us try another example. Given that f of x is equal to x squared minus 3x plus 5, find f prime of x. So again, by definition, we will use limit to find y prime or f prime of x as x approaches 0, delta x I mean, f of x plus delta x minus f of x all over delta x. So substituting f of x plus delta x sa ating given, so meron tayong f of x plus delta x is equal to x plus delta x squared, that's x raised to the second power, minus thrice of x plus delta x plus 5. Then substituting there in our definition, f prime of x is equal to limit as delta x approaches 0 of the quantity. Expanding this, we'll have x squared plus 2x delta x plus delta x raised to the second power. Please be reminded that x and delta x ay magkaibang variables. So magkaibang variable ang x and delta x. So delta x is considered as one variable. So you can combine x with x here para maging delta x raised to the second power. So this is not true. So because x is different from delta x. So ang ginamit lang natin yung binomial expansion, that a plus b raised to the second power is square of the first plus twice the product of the two plus square of the second. So that's why this becomes x raised to the second plus twice the product of x and delta x, that becomes 2x delta x, plus square of delta x is delta x raised to the second power, minus 3x minus 3 delta x, that is when you distribute this negative in each sa term inside the parenthesis, plus 5. That is just your f of x plus delta x. Ima-minus pa natin yung ating f of x. So subtracting f of x, that's x squared minus 3x plus 5 all over delta x. So if you simplify by distributing this negative in each of the term inside the parenthesis, magiging negative x squared, magiging plus 3x, magiging negative 5. So again, dinistribute lang natin yung negative in each of the terms inside the parenthesis. So what happens to x squared? That cancels out because x squared minus x squared is 0. Then negative 3x and positive 3x cancels out. 5 cancels out with negative 5. What is left ay limit as delta x approaches 0 of 2x delta x plus delta x squared minus 3 delta x all over delta x. So, yan na lang ang natira nung sinimplify natin yung numerator. But since lahat yan ay may delta x, tatanggalin natin yung delta x in each of the term since dinivide natin siya by delta x. So, this gives us limit as delta x approaches 0 of 2x, because delta x over delta x is 1, plus delta x, because delta x squared divided by delta x, may matitira pa tayong isang delta x, minus 3. Then using function value, since delta x approaches 0, this is equal to 0. So thus, our f prime of x is equal to 2x minus 3. Since 2x minus 3 ay treated constant, since ang variable na kinoconsider natin approaches 0 is delta x. Thus, x is treated constant. And limit of a constant as a variable approaches any number will always be a constant. So therefore, the derivative of the function x squared minus 3x plus 5 is 2x minus 3. Let's proceed with the next example. So what if I have a quotient of 3x minus 2 and 2x plus 1? So again, substituting sa ating definition that limit as delta x approaches 0, f of x plus delta x, so we always go back to the definition, divided by delta x as our first derivative. But f of x is 3x minus 2 over 2x plus 1. Then f of x plus delta x is equal to 3 times x plus delta x enclosed minus 2 all over 2 times x plus delta x enclosed plus 1. That's 3x plus delta x minus 2, which is equal to 3x plus 3 delta x minus 2. If you distribute this 3 inside, and so with the denominator 2, that gives us 2x plus 2 delta x plus 1. Substituting sa ating given definition, limit as delta x approaches 0, our numerator, that's 3x plus 3 delta x minus 2 all over 2x plus 2 delta x plus 1. That's our f of x plus delta x minus our f of x, which is 3x minus 2 over 2x plus 1 all over delta x. If you simplify that numerator, kailangan nating pag-combinein ang dissimilar fraction. So, sa pag-combine ng dissimilar fraction, we use LCD. So, this is your delta x. So, ang LCD natin is the product of the denominators 2x plus 2 delta x plus 1 multiplied by 2x plus 1. So your LCD divided by 2x plus 2 delta x plus 1, ang matitira ay 2x plus 1 multiplied by your numerator, 3x plus 3 delta x minus 2 3 delta x minus 2 multiplied by yung quotient, which is 2x plus 1 minus the quantity 3x minus 2 multiplied by this LCD divided by 2x plus 1 is 2x plus 2 delta x plus 1. Then simplifying your numerator, pagka ginamitan natin ng FOIL method, limit as delta x approaches 0. So let me have a very long division para ma-separate natin ang numerator sa denominator. So this gives us all over 2x plus 2 delta x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. Then, multiply na natin yung numerator. First to first, that is 6x squared. First to second, that is 3x. Second to first, that is plus 6x delta x. Again, that is 3 delta x times 2x. Then second to second is plus 3 delta x. Then negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x. Then negative 2 times positive 1 is negative 2. Then ito naman, 3x times 2x preceded by a negative is negative 6x squared. Again, 2x times 3x is 6x squared preceded by a negative is negative 6x squared. Then first to second, that is 6x delta x preceded by a negative is negative 6x delta x. Then first to last is 3x times 1 is 3x preceded by a negative is negative 3x. Then second to first, negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x preceded by a negative is positive 4x. Then second to second term here is negative 2 times 2x, 2 delta x is negative 4 delta x preceded by negative is positive 4 delta x. And finally, negative 2 times positive 1 is negative 2 preceded by a negative is positive 2. Simplifying all, canceling muna natin lahat ng pwedeng i-cancel. Let us use another color. Let's say ito. 6x squared cancels out with 6x squared. This negative 4x cancels out with positive 4x. This positive 3x cancels out with negative 3x. This negative 2 cancels out with positive 2. And then we can combine this with this. So, ang matitira sa numerator ay f prime of x is equal to limit as delta x approaches 0 ang natira sa numerator ay 6x delta x plus yung sum ng 3 delta x and 4 delta x. Oh, sorry. This 6x delta x cancels out with negative 6x delta x. So what is left na lang is 3 delta x plus 4 delta x is 7 delta x. So, makakancel na ito. So, ang matitira na lang ay 7 delta x. Over the denominator 2x plus 2 delta x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. Multiplied by, remember, this is a complex fraction. When we divide a complex fraction, you multiply your numerator a over b by the reciprocal of your denominator b over c. So if this is your numerator and your denominator is delta x over 1, then its reciprocal is 1 over delta x being multiplied by the result of this numerator. So this becomes the result of your numerator multiplied by the reciprocal of the denominator. And that delta x cancels out with that delta x, giving us f prime of x is equal to limit as delta x approaches 0, 7 over 2x plus 2 delta x plus 1 multiplied by 2x plus 1. So again, non-delta x ay considered constant. So 2x, 1, 2x, 1, and 7 are considered constant terms. Then, substituting delta x is equal to 0 using function values, f prime of x, as we evaluate limit, is 7 over 2x plus 1, that is 0 plus 1, because 2 times 0 is 0, times 2x plus 1. So, this cancels out na because 0 there is 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. So, therefore, ang derivative ng ating function given is 7 all over 2x plus 1 raised to the second power. Let's consider another example. What if I have square root of 3x minus 5? So again, by definition, f of x plus delta x here is equal to the square root of 3x plus 3 delta x minus 5. So that is when you substitute x plus delta x kay 3, so that becomes 3 times x plus delta x. And once you distribute, it becomes 3x plus 3 delta x minus 5. Then f prime of x is the limit as delta x approaches 0 of f of x plus delta x. So that's f of x plus delta x. That's our definition. Minus f of x over delta x. Limit of that as delta x approaches 0. So that is square root of 3x plus 3 delta x minus 5 minus f of x, which is square root of 3x minus 5 all over delta x. So if we try to substitute this delta x on our given, magiging 3x plus 3 times 0, that's 0, that's square root of 3x minus 5, minus the square root of 3x minus 5 is 0 over delta x, which is 0. So magiging indeterminate. And we don't want an indeterminate answer as per discussed last module. So now, gagawa tayo ng paraan para hindi siya maging indeterminate by multiplying both numerator and denominator by the conjugate of your numerator. This becomes plus square root of 3x minus 5, square root of 3x plus 3 delta x minus 5 plus square root of 3x minus 5. So, bakit ulit na i-multiply sa conjugate? Because we know that a squared minus b squared, ang magiging result kapag minultiply ko ang a minus b sa a plus b. So, if this is a minus b, this is a plus b, that must be equal to square of the first term minus the square of the second term. So this gives us f prime of x is equal now to limit as delta x approaches 0 of the square root of 3x plus 3 delta x minus 5 squared minus square root of 3x minus 5 squared, because the product of a minus b and a plus b is square of first minus square of second, all over the denominator delta x multiplied by kung ano yung minultiply natin kaninang conjugate. 3x, 3 delta x minus 5 plus square root of 3x minus 5. Let us simplify numerator. Numerator is once you square that, magiging limit as delta x approaches 0. Squaring your numerator, magiging 3x plus 3 delta x minus 5, because the square root cancels out with that squared, minus the quantity 3x minus 5. All over, alisin ko lang yun. All over our delta x times square root of 3x plus 3 delta x minus 5 plus square root of 3x minus 5. Simplifying further the numerator, pag dinistribute natin ulit yung negative, magiging negative 3x plus 5. So distributing this negative sign in each of the term inside the parenthesis. That 3x cancels out with negative 3x. That negative 5 cancels out with positive 5. Giving us this one on your numerator. And since it is divided by delta x, that delta x cancels out. Giving us limit as delta x approaches 0 of 3 sa numerator all over the square root of 3x plus 3 delta x minus 5 plus the square root of 3x minus 5. So, substituting this delta x in this simplified version ng ating function, this delta x is equal to 0 because it approaches 0 using function value, and non-delta x is treated constant. So, this becomes three. That's our f prime of x equals 3 all over square root of 3x minus 5 plus square root of 3x minus 5. And the sum of 3x minus 5, of course, square root of 3x minus 5 ay twice of that. So this is 3 over 2 square root of 3x minus 5. So in here, pwede na natin yang maging final answer. So kahit hindi na natin siya i-simplify gamit ang rationalization. So that will be the end of this presentation.